he was late to the party. You already had Fearness had died because of the RNG play. They had 4 members of RNG committed to that top side, and we never got anything from it. So I think coming into this pick and ban phase now, LGD, just go back to your standard team fighters. I think taking this more upfront style against RNG is going to work out better than trying to play around the map as well.
Well, I mean, the Nocturne would tell us that they want to play around the map once again. But we know how this pick can work. Pick potential's there, a part of initiation towards the back line. There's a lot you can do with the Nocturne, and reason it's banned all the damn time in this region. Viego, though, RNG just say, hey, we'll take it again. Remember, it can still be flexed around, but Xiaohu in game 1, that was kind of a must ban that LGD didn't want to take away.
And we're still going to see the Nautilus coming through for Ming. It looks like kind of been rising up as the premier support on this patch, unless you're going for something a little bit funky like a Callista Taric or any of these things, but certainly been very, very strong. Now when we look across at LGD, Akali slipped through the ban phase. Ooh. And that is going to be picked up now for Xia in that mid lane. And I'm excited for this because for Cryin, one of his weakest, he's been the weakest laner, actually the weakest mid laner, to be honest, that we've kind of seen coming through. He's been really poor this split. And when you've got something like an Akali that you need to try and punish early, there is a big question mark around Cryin as to whether he can do so. Does take the LeBlanc into this matchup though, can do relatively okay, but still going to be pretty hard because obviously you can't get the Sigil of Malice on towards the Akali when she's in her Shroud. A lot of these things become a little bit more difficult with the mobility that Akali has.
But you can always just W check the Shroud. I mean, that used to be just the way to go, I remember. And I'm sure our audience remembers old Akali with the purple Shroud and how easy it was for LeBlanc just to double distortion because the AoE was good enough to hit about 80% of it. So yeah, things have changed a little bit, but I am excited if we do get the assassin versus assassin matchup, Dagda. Cryin versus Xie may not be on the top tier of everyone's mid lane tier list, but it is still a great matchup nevertheless. Now, let's walk into the next. Here we go. English is first language, but I'll struggle with this. The next bans and talk about ADs because it's double support ban from RNG, but we still need RNG to pick up an AD carry, so wouldn't be surprised if LGD try and snap one from Gala.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see the Ezreal ban as part of LGD's go-to here. Obviously, they're trying to be like, hey, look, well, it gives a free lane to Gal on the bot side, but we have seen the Divine Sunder's nerfs, which directly hit Ezreal. Now, we still got a lot of things up and available, right? Varus still up on the cards if you want to. Kai'Sa, which has been the kind of the Gala go-to. You're not particularly struggling here as Gala to find a pick for yourself. And as well, don't forget, if you go towards this Varus pick, Kramer has the Ziggs. He's perfectly happy to play these styles in towards some of these AD carry picks, which is why I kind of like that RNG are holding off on that bottom side of the map, making sure they know exactly what Kramer's doing before they start to lock in that AD carry.
Almost wouldn't have mind seeing the jungle flex last, right? I just want to point out that you pulled Ziggs through. If that is seen, Mundo as a last pick is just such an easy option, but of course, not going to be the case and pretty irrelevant at this point. Just something to consider for us going into future. LGD, what do they want? A form of engage alongside the Volley Bear, the Nocturne. Something that can submarine alongside him. And they picked the Rakan instead of something like the Galio. I like this for Mark. It has been a good pick in the past. And it helps solidify some of the situational engage that LGD have already built.
And now we got to see what's going to be that final lock in going through. I mean, something like a Kai'Sa, you're just picking yourself into a poor matchup, so I'd be surprised to see that coming through for Gala. But I mean, Gala's played it countless times. It's one of his favorites, and we are just going to see it locked in anyway. So this is going to give a hell of a lot of pressure over towards LGD. On that bottom side, Kramer Mark should have a lot of control just off of the hail of blade or hail of arrows being stronger than the Acathian rain that Kai'Sa can turn out. So I think you've got a window here, Shadow, now on this Volley Bear to play down towards that bottom side. But as you talked about, like a lot of backline threats, still a team fight orientated composition from LGD, just having a lot of flanks to try and threaten on towards Gal and on towards the backline. Whereas for RNG, you actually kind of have a very similar story, right? You've got this very short range composition that's looking to burst out these key carries like Kramer at the start of fights, and then look to carry the momentum through the rest of that engagement.
I am excited to talk more about the bottom lane because I know that as coaches walk off stage, Gala and Ming Their two best champions over the past 6 months have been Kai'Sa and Nautilus quite easily. I think Ming on Nautilus for the past 3 years has showcased he's one of the best. Again, you look at the tier list from the last hit, Dom, Lyric, and Munchables. Now, sure, Dom and Munchables didn't put Ming #1. I'm pretty sure he was in the top 15. He'd have to be, otherwise that's blasphemy.
Oh,
but
yeah,
Lyric
yeah,
talking about him being the best, yeah. Like, this support has showcased time and time again that he's the foundation of RNG now for a reason. Ming has been there for that long. Xiaohu for even longer as the franchise player. And they're both performing so well. So in game 1, we saw the tail of that. We looking for it in game number 2 as well, as LGD try to disrupt the flow. Just remember, Dagda, and for everyone else out there, RNG 1 and 5, they are the MSI champions, and they're still sitting down so low. LGD 5 and 3 though, and they were on a 3-win streak before they came into today. Only dropped a single game to Suning. They beat Invictus Gaming, which is always a lull, and they destroyed Rogue Warriors. RNG hasn't been the same start of the series, so we're going to see if they can fight back and bring us to a game 3 as we return to the Rift here in Hangzhou in LGD's home arena.
And it is nuts to think that we're halfway through the split almost, and RNG are still looking to put their second win on the board. Struggling after MSI, but a win could be what's on the cards here for themselves. And it feels like if they want to do that, the best way for it is to start looking towards those dragons once again, right? Olaf's superb at taking these early objectives. Same when you look towards Cryin, who should have priority in mid. Start to threaten down towards this bottom side, force some honesty on Kramer and Mark, and look to get this dragon stacking going.
Look for the early dragon stackings then. Again, the Olaf away, second game in a row. This is what we missed, folks. Is Flash burnt? I mean, it's an Akali, but yes, Xie took Flash. Shadow's going to burn his as well. I mean, wait for the undertow slow. Ming's there. Flashes away. This is what we missed at the level 1s. Double Flash that LGD had to burn in response.
Oh. Fearness actually cheesing Xiaohu here.
Bit of sustain here. Bit of sustain. That's an equal trade. I actually think Xiaohu's okay with the Q, but Umbral Glaive flashes away. Q wasn't up, but Fearness was going to do it, and Xiaohu respects it. Never mind. There's one back for LGD.
Yeah, I think it would have been a bit ambitious for Fearness to flash under the turret, but obviously Xiaohu pretty worried about it. I thought Wei might have just tried to run straight topside, but you can see he's kind of a bit low himself. And now, engage on bot side. But
almost happens.
Good trading back here from Kramer.
But level 2 going to be hit first here by Gala and Ming. I know you're talking about the strength of Hail of Arrows from Kramer and what Mark can do in this lane as well. Let's just remember, Hail of Blades with a Nautilus when you're playing Kai'Sa is just so good if you can get a dredge line and burst down someone like Kramer on this Varus. So I feel like we always have to respect both sides of the coin. Kind of like what we're seeing in mid and top, right? Like,
oh, what is Mark doing?
I mean, a bit too far
Sorry,
forward.
so like, the way you play this matchup here is, Rakan, is you use the fact you've got the range, you push the wave with Kramer, and you never step into a position like here. Like, this is an aggressive stance here when you're playing this bot lane matchup. Yep. So the idea here is that if Ming goes to engage, right, Mark is actually behind the play, because Ming can hook on towards Kramer, and then you've got to cross...
oh my
what is he doing?
Dagger,
you cross in front of the other support, and then you're able to win the fight out as Ming and Gala. You want to take a defensive stretch here as Mark, because what you want to do is, if Ming ever hooks Kramer, you aggress on towards Gala, and then you back away, you nullify that whole trade. But the positioning for Mark there means that Gala and Ming are able to trade on towards Mark very effectively. Kramer isn't in a position to try and threaten the AD carry, and they're able to just continuously win out in this trade. So you can see there, although you should have that full advantage on the bot side for Kramer and Mark, Mark's positioning is actually ruining that entire game plan.
It's right down in the bin. 10 CS advantage already here from Gala. They get the push up. Good time to back as well with the wave just building up so much. And it won't be 15 forever, as you can see on the bottom of your screen. There's good trading here in the mid lane from Cryin. But back to that bottom lane real quick. Double longsword picked up from Gala. He's going to be walking back to lane very comfortably. And in this time, it means that Ming can roam around. He can hover around this mid lane in case Shadow shows up. Because Shadow wasn't spotted on the top side after he backed, after clearing away the scuttle. So I like that Ming already adding a bit of pressure on the flashless Akali that we saw at level 1.
And I also want you to look at Wave's pathing as well off the back of this, right? Cryan's going to shove in. He TP's mid. He's full mana. He's in a great spot. Wave will get down towards Dragon right as it's about to spawn at the 5-minute mark. Gala just hit bot side Wave. He's now able to shove that in, and he'll have priority for that Dragon as well. So it's setting up so nicely for this early win condition we're talking about of trying to get these Dragons going for RNG.
Set the objective up on the board. Dagda, talk to me a little bit more about what happens as we get into mid-game, right? Let's move away from objectives for the time being. We did talk a lot about solo lanes coming through here, and with LeBlanc versus Akali, is it snowball? Is that really like the key word that we should be highlighting with the drafts overall, or just the mid lane matchup?
I definitely think the level 6 onwards is where LGD need to start to get that ball rolling. Because you got Xiaohu on this Viego. We've just seen what he can do as Shadow. You got no flash, buddy.
I think you don't want to fight the Olaf. Undertow connects again. He flashes. He wants this one right on in as Mark hits up as well, but he's down for first blood. A response now as Kramer gets hooked on in. Crying low on the mana bar, but Xie's now joined on in. Kramer getting hit by Ming into the Shroud. Kramer running for his life, and he survives. Ming went way too deep in RNG. Can't follow the play.
RNG had no priority bot lane. Even though we said Gala could have hit that wave and got to the point where they could have threatened Dragon, Gala actually let the wave pushed into him, tried to freeze the wave instead, and it meant that when RNG go for that play, it's LGD's bot lane who moves first, and Shadow barely survives as Wave's not able to finish him off fast enough. And this whole play has gone disastrously now for RNG, but literally as we're talking about snowballing, LGD are getting these kills.
And they're building momentum up. Seems like that is the key word for today, because Shadow is coming back top. He almost has level 6, about half a HP bar, but Xiaohu trying to solo Phoenix, but Darkness available.
Oh, no.
Are you ready? Paranoia in. It's a bazooka kill for Phoenix up in the top lane.
And it's the game that's been blown open off of it. You've got to kill now topside, kill in that bottom lane as well. And now RNG, yes, they'll get the consolation prize of the Dragon, but when LGD are getting control like this, getting Xiaohu set behind, they're doing so much more for how they want to play at this game.
They are, and I like that the Dragon response comes at a price here. Even though RNG, one of these objectives you talk so heavily about, Dagda, LGD giving the iron price right back, and Shadow setting up Venus.
Oh, Xiaohu's dead. Xiaohu's dead.
Xiaohu's so deep. You don't even need Paranoia at this point. Stormbringer's now available. Let's see the flash forward. Xiaohu burns his own, but he's still feared, stunned up. Stormbringer says goodbye to the turret, and LGD give another one to this top lane rising star.
Xiaohu tried to shove in that way, but it's such a big mistake and overextension. You know that you've still got that topside control for Shadow, and he just walks in. And now you get this super nice reset to come in from Fearness right as Rift Tower's about to come up as well. They can threaten on towards that, and it's all coming up clutch for LGD.
Ming far forward. I said this is dangerous because you have a serrated Dirk on top of Kramer. Ming at this point in the game is a Nautilus without that little bit of hit. Kramer gonna get locked on down. Gala hits ulti first, and he'll fall to the ground. Wasn't expecting that one, but RNG have a bigger wave, and Kramer didn't respect the fact.
Yeah, I don't think Kramer was expecting it either. That managed to sneak its way in behind Mark and actually connect onto the Varus. And Gala, Killer Instinct up and available. They'd already got that wave pushed in, and meant that they had the level 6 advantage over the LGD bot lane.
Dagda, it's massive, because Mark's not able to hold the wave. Look at the CS difference. That's 30 CS for the bottom lane 80 carry. A kill picked up now as well. No plating, but I expect us to be close to the mythic item. Gala will give us a showcase in a second. Okay, Berserker Greaves instead. He's leaving base for now, so that 1,100 gold spent wisely. While RNG are up top, RNG moving all of their bottom lane up here as well after everything went wrong for Kramer. And that means LGD have to respect that this Herald is just given away.
Yeah, to get the faster reset, Mark was staying in that bottom side as Ming roamed up, so numbers advantage topside for RNG, and that hurts for LGD. When they were the ones that had control topside, wait, don't bite off more than you can chew. No, he's gonna back away, but still, for LGD, like, they had control topside. You got a 2-0 Nocturne. This is the side of the map you should be playing towards because that's where your strengths are. But unfortunately, because Kramer and Mark have lost the bot lane so heavily, Ming's able to transition that strength top that advantage that they picked up and actually push LGD back. And this is something that we see a lot from Kramer as well. Like, if you look at his stats, Kramer, goal difference of 15, CSD at 15. He's 15th in the league for a team that's actually relatively high up in the standings.
Yep.
It's Kramer consistently falling behind.
It's Kramer, and let's not forget, Dagda, you got a little tilted at Mark in the early laning phase, so we'll call a spade and say that Mark's not having a great game either. Don't look at the kill, folks. Just look at the lane state, because Gala still almost 30 CS ahead here. And he walked up towards the Herald. It's huge. It really is. We can see gold values on the side of our screen. 400, you're dead right. And the rest of RNG aren't doing too bad in CS. Topside is the only lane that's really losing out, and that's because Shadow wants to be a bear bully.
And we might see it once again. Shadow is up here. Xie has the teleport advantage as well. He might just TP to the lane.
Stormbringer for Shadow, waiting till Xiaohu comes out of vision. The turret back on in. He uses the Heartbreaker. Xiaohu buying space, but Shadow's ulti comes in fast. Fearness has popped the ulti, but he survived. Not good for LGD, not good at all. Reset as well, and you're going to get yourself another Heartbreaker. Good dodge from Xie, but he's feared away. Xiaohu's little reset comes at a price eventually, but Xie to his certain demise, with Wei picking it up.
Xiaohu survived so damn long on that play. The fact that he managed to give them the rigmarole all over the place, flashing, using the dashes, getting the stuns off, meant that they just couldn't kill him fast enough. And the members of RNG were able to move up towards that top side. A good read from Wei and Cryin as well. We just said, hey, look, Xie's resetting. He can TP to that play top side. But Cryin and Wei had already moved up there to give that support towards Xiaohu.
Well, game's back to near even. Somehow, after RNG lost so much, especially the diving in the top side, that's worked out twice before for LGD. And we can't forget the bottom side play where Ming went too far. We'll have a look again, Dagda, because you're right, Xiaohu just bought so much time.
Yeah, the flash back into the Shroud as well meant that they couldn't really get on top of him. The paranoia then comes in so late, and Shadow, he's got to back away from this play. He's tanking up the turret the whole time, knows that he doesn't really have much more that he can offer, and then eventually Xiaohu does go down, barely, to this Akali, but it was very close to being a 2-for-0 trade.
I mean, that Spectrum War, if it hit, 100% the 2-for-0. But unlucky it doesn't. Xie at least gets something back, but RNG are stacking these objectives like you wanted to see, Dagda. And now, Mark walking in, the depth charge connects. TP on the back end, LGD want to contest, and Xie and Xiaohu are fighting it out. Cryin is now here, 5 members on top of the dragon, and it's gone. Cryin jumping on in, and this is not good for LGD. Wei's gone into Ragnarok while Xie into the backline. This Akali has bought so much space, cleaning through RNG. The dragon comes at yet another price. Xie walking forward, kites away. This man on Akali setting themselves up for success. Shadow wants to re-engage, but so does Xiaohu. Running head first into Xie, he flashes away. Gala hitting like a truck even at this point in the game, and Shadow walking into it. At this point, LGD need to be careful as Gala at half HP. He supercharges forward. Kramer's still in it though, and Fairness into the back line. Ulti's back up but available. Heartbreaker disengage. Ming as well, 2-man knock-up. Mark finally pays his debt to the rest of LGD. Ming survives with a great stopwatch though, and Kramer doesn't have enough mana for Q on a hair's breadth, Dagda, but LGD definitely won in the end.
RNG in these early skirmishes are not... We're still going. Hang on, what?
Okay, I'll take a breath. We'll try again. TP in the backside.
TPs.
LPL delivers. Reset time. And now you get movement speed from Xiaohu while Mark is dead to Wei. One auto to do it. Kramer's dead as well. And now I can say RNG won the fight.
I mean, TPs and this series, man, being able to turn around these fights. We saw it game number 1. We see it now from Xiaohu game number 2. So at the end of things, we're back to 8-8 in the scoreboard. Gold, dead even. Tower's going to be going in favor of Xiaohu on this bottom side, though. Dragon does go to RNG as well. So, as you say, like, a lot of back and forth there, but it will be kind of a win for RNG because of a bit of extra gold and also because of that dragon.
Yeah, I don't know, Dagda. I don't know what to say after that. I mean, we're just trading all over the place. And
MSI champions, eh?
Yeah. Hey, MSI champions, world attendees last year as well.
Yeah.
Let's not forget LGD 4th seed. Somehow. And I mean, look, let's be real. I mean, they deserve the 4th spot after what we saw domestically as well. LGD had a really rough last split. If anyone didn't tune into 2021 Spring, this team was pretty... So I'm glad that now LGD is still putting up a fight and they're still looking good in some of their games, but losing a little bit in the process. Way will pick up that solo gold because turret plating was still available. But now it's 15 minutes just about. Mythic starting to get picked up here. And Way getting proactive on the map around this next Herald.
Yeah, and I want to start looking at these items, right? Riftmaker completed, Divine Sunder completed for Shadow. You got that Stride Breaker as well for Fearness. Like, they've hit a really strong spot. So you can see here, they're pretty happy to try and force this Rift Herald on top side, knowing that they've got a stronger top half of the map. Whereas when you look at RNG, they're going to see if they can just trade that for pressure on Xiaohu bot side. Should be able to take this tower off the wave with Fearness not really being in a position to try and contest that.
All right, so just a free objective in the end. Dagda, let's go through conditions again. I'm very curious as to what changes because everyone is even. I want to point out that Gala's still without a mythic item because he wanted the early Q upgrade. He's level 9, so he has that for sure, folks. But Shadow now looking towards the top side. Ignore me for the moment. Crine does not have a mythic item, so him getting out of this as well makes it a little bit harder. He double distortions, jumps back, Marcus used the quickness. Gap closes though. Crine play it around, but Xie will have none of it until he realizes it's the clone. Crine duked 3 people, and RNG are getting bot turret.
And he giggles his way on the way home as well. I don't know if people caught that on the camera, but now RNG, they get bot tower. You're trading a tier 2, and don't forget, with the changes on 11-13, that's 250 extra gold because that's a tier 2 local gold split between those 2 members as well. And looks like Xie will actually get that solo gold there for himself, though. You can see 600 gold into the back pocket of Xie. Gonna make that Akali pretty damn strong.
Man, people say things about crime, but not this time as over-the-wall heartbreaker, but Way is nearby. If Mark gets caught out, there will be retribution. But RNG are safe for the time being. Xiao didn't have to burn the flash, it's just the ulti, which is cooldown. It's not too hurting. Is that a word, Dagda? Hurting? Yes, it is. Sorry, today. Yeah. It's just it's not a good English day for me. But Dragon's up in 20 seconds, and I want to talk about this because we now have a Mythic on Crine, who just made a fantastic play. We have Mythics on everyone on LGD, though, and because it is 11-13, did we talk about Prowler's Claw, Dagda? Did we mention it here today?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see that. I just assumed that we'd start to see the Duskblade come through a little bit more. You don't have the same advantages that you did before, right? Where you get the 21 lethality versus the 18 lethality that comes from Duskblade. It is just bog standard 18 lethality now across all these, but also just the fact that you can't really get that full utility out of the Prowler's Claw now. Yeah. You can't use it on allies or anything like that, but look, he's still going for it. Still going to be able to give maybe some opportunities to use it to try and gap close and get the ultimate off. The Chains of Corruption, that's the word I was looking for. But look, either way, it's not going to make too much of a difference, right? You never really get to use the passive, the invisibility from the Duskblade Drakthar too much. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world. I just still find it curious, right? Again, you and I talked heavily about 11-13. It was in there as a note, but like, oh, no, it wasn't even because we're like, probably not going to see it. Extra 30 seconds on it as well. And as Dagda said, only enemy champions now instead of enemy units, which is a very big deal. So we'll have to see how Kramer's able to utilize it in the fight as Zavaris here as he heads towards the second item. And as we head towards an Ocean Soul in 4 minutes, RNG have picked up 3 dragons, only 1 was contested. And the biggest thing for me, Dagda, is this is just like game number 1. RNG fought over the Ocean Soul. LGD didn't have a dragon to their name, and they were forced into a fight that they didn't want to take. And I think that's alarming when you see Gala's heading towards 2 items now after picking up the Kraken Slayer. You know that Crine is going to have that Morellonomicon or another second item soon. And the Olaf as well is going to hit his maximum dosage. Fun fact, Mundo's new ulti, as he is just getting to that point in the game. So I think for RNG in a very good position, despite gold still being even.
Gala could be in trouble here, though. Shadow off in the wings.
That's
Just going to be able to force Gala back, so they should get the tower here. And the thing that I want to talk about, though, is last game, much more of a poke, sorry, it's not poke, pick composition coming through from LGD. They're actually good to fight this time around, right? They can definitely go for some of these picks with fairness, but their backline threat is sky high. I really want to see Shie get a stopwatch for this next fight, though. With how important this zone is going to be, buying that time, that extra space in the backline is going to make such a big difference, especially for people like Gala, threatening on towards Wei, these kind of things. But looks like he made out of the opportunity, as he's got a pretty full build at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he does full build at this time of the game. Wow, how did that happen? And Crying starting to get ambitious here as he jumps on in. 2 minutes 45 until we see that dragon, so any earlier fights won't have the same impact. Both teams just trying to farm. LGD sitting around mid. They know that Shie's top, but TP's coming in. They know there's numbers advantage. They're on top of Kramer. Chain's Corruption doesn't matter. Wei's going to run him down while Shadow tries to get something back. Shie is in later, but now Shadow's dead. 5 versus 3, now 4. Ming drops down, but it doesn't matter. Shie trying to carry the fight, but Xiao's doing the exact same. They have to help out Grind, who's versing the Akali. Heartbreaker in, Spectrum more, sped up here by the Hallowing Path. It's Shie who flashes, Shuriken flips, blast cones away, but RNG are not done. The gap close is intense, and Wei wants to run him down. Mark coming in from the wing as well. They jump back up, but LGD, I'm surprised, Dagda, they got so much when they lost so early.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-2 trade when all is said and done, but key summoners blown across the board. Look at the flash gone on Gala, Ming, Wei, also on LGD's side as well for Shadow, Shie, Kramer. So when we look towards this next dragon, a lot of those sitting duck AD carries become a lot more vulnerable, and we can see the engage here. They think that they've got it with Xiaohu being able to come in the side here for RNG. Kramer burst out, but watch Shie on the top side of this fight. Get the Shuriken flip directly on towards Gala. After dealing a little bit with Shadow, then bursts out Gala at the top side of that fight, which makes such a big difference. But now, a minute until this dragon. You've got that Zhonya's that we wanted to see completed from Shie off the goal from that skirmish. So now for Gala, you have to be a hell of a lot more careful in this fight. For Crying, you don't have Shie as a target you can burst out, and can definitely make things easier for LGD.
I wish we got to see the camera better from Shie's perspective in that fight, because for him to salvage how horrible of a start that was is kind of a testament to how this guy's been playing. Again, we've been complimenting Shadow. I think this series hasn't been his best. It definitely hasn't been up there. But Shie has had a pretty decent time, so 3-1-3. Okay, I'm lying. Just the fake game wasn't amazing. But on the Akali deck, a very different story. 2.5 items now as well. Zhonya's to buy time. A stopwatch there through the inventory of Shadow as well. And RNG want this soul. 23 seconds until it spawns, and they're making their way into the river.
The thing is, though, like, RNG are so much better at playing over a... Hang on.
Okay, Ming tries for the engage. I know you want to say something, Dagda, but it's on a whim. Chain's Corruption there onto the support. Shadow's running in, though. I'm not sure that's a play. He goes Golden Way, wreaking havoc in the backline. Mark getting everyone, but they've taken away Xiaohu. In an instant, he's gone. Numbers advantage for LGD, but locked down is Shadow and destroyed. Jungler is the bigger take here, as it's now 4v4.
And now as LGD, you have to fight this, but as you said, 4v4 Shie.
She has locked down. Wei's going in. Gala with the killer instinct as well. We've seen this from the Kai'Sa AD carry. He's got everyone under his wing. Shie trying his heart out, but the damage doesn't come close. Fearness under turret. Crying runs on in. And RNG, you group up like that, they're happy to hug you tight.
And I was about to say, LGD, they can actually play this a little bit slower, right? They do a hell of a lot more playing over that wall where you can poke with Kramer, with Fearness, even his Qs, Shadow as well, being able to throw down some of these Sky Splitters and start to see what you can make work. But unfortunately, they decide to engage on towards RNG, giving them the opportunity in that fight to go toe-to-toe. And RNG, they get that win. And now Xiaohu, don't mind if I do, I'm going to wander over here and I'm going to start up this dragon.
But Shadow's on the outer rim. I want to highlight, because I didn't in that fight, a Crying on this LeBlanc. Having a real good game here. We're going to look at the replay before Dragon starts. Dagda, his positioning is as good as Shie.
Yeah, Shie here is actually a bit unfortunate, where he's giving all this damage into the front line. He's actually not able to use this perfect execution for so long because he doesn't have a threat. And then here, Crying goes in, gets the CC, but Fearness, he's gone.
Well, there you go. There's a Crying montage being built up yet again. Gets the pick up on the top laner. If Dragon wasn't getting started, it sure as hell is now.
Yeah, it's gone. I mean, this is now Baron, RNG, Kramer tries to sneak it in. But look, Baron, Ocean Soul, everything for RNG. And this is where LGD, right, their early game has been okay, but their mid game has definitely started to fall apart. Their objective setup hasn't been there. Their team fight decision making hasn't been there either. Yep. And unfortunately for them now, RNG, they're on the hunt.
Well, see who they can find. Sheer lucky to get out. Of course, Control will help him be saved. Now RNG pushing that vision forward. It's an Ocean Soul. It's a 6k gold lead. Dagger in a comp like this that has a Kai'Sa, LeBlanc, even the Viego. There's a lot of bursts, so if LGD get caught out, it's your inner gone, it's your turrets and your base gone. It's so much from this Baron power play that if LGD want to win this game, they cannot afford to let RNG push these sides and get any closer.
But this is the problem, right? Like, the big strength that I saw for LGD is kind of getting these leads and running away with them. When you get to this mid to late game macro, that's where RNG are favored. And although we did see RNG making a couple of these missteps in game one when it came towards skirmishes, LGD weren't able to run away with it. Yep. And now we're seeing the same again here, where Shie, although is in a good spot, isn't really far enough ahead that he can carry this game. Shadow as well, who's also been the mainstay for LGD, he's behind. He's 0-4. He's gone towards this super squishy build that I'm not a fan of whatsoever. And it means that he's just another target for Crying. He's someone that Xiao who can burst down. There's so many people on RNG that Shadow can just be blown up by.
Yeah, every time we see this Volley Bear, it has just been the Divine Thunder first, and most often the Zhonya's Hour coming through second. As we'll see one on the supports, I'm sure. TP coming in mid. This is Xiaohu joining into the fray. He's 2.5 items strong. Gala the same as well, but 14 stacks on Majais. If LGD want to win this game, they need to kill this LeBlanc, who right now has so much ability power. Again, our screens are about 240p, so if anyone sees in the bottom left, let me know. But RNG grouping up as 5 Dagger, they're so strong. You know, Crying alone, if he runs in, he gets that chain combo. Kramer's going to die, Shear's going to die. Wade doesn't care that the whole team's in. They're diving beneath turret. Chains of Corruption and Crying! Double distortion, that's what you need. But he's still at full HP. He's still threatening under turret. Watch out, it's Savion LeBlanc. Like a fine vintage. He's really accelerated through. We taste, we deliver, and we say, boy, I'll have another bottle of this version of Crying.
And it looks so much better. This version of RNG with priority mid, strong junglers, strong top laners will take the 2-0 win against LGD.
2-0 for RNG is exactly what they need to get right back on track. 2-5 now, it begins.
And it does feel like that step towards back towards what RNG were so good at, was actually being able to play out through these sidelines, play these strong macro-oriented mid-games, and win out just through their team fighting and the advantages they'd picked up. Now, this game